Let's get started with our first news. A clip of Jon Jones from 6 months ago has been making the rounds on social media since UFC 321, and it's stirring up plenty of conversation. In the video, Jones talks about Tom Aspinall's 2015 loss to Stuart Austin, a fight that took place when Tom was just 22 years old. Jones was predicting Tom's matchup with Cyril Gane and brought up that early defeat, saying it revealed a lot about who Aspinall truly is as a fighter. Jones said he remembers watching that bout closely. Tom was still very young back then, already a black belt, and facing a tough opponent who managed to take him down. According to Jones, Austin caught Tom in a heel hook, and the moment the pressure was applied, Tom immediately tapped out. Jones emphasized how quickly it happened. There was no attempt to fight the position or tough it out. He said, the moment he felt any pressure on his ankle, he tapped immediately. For Jones, that single reaction spoke volumes about Tom's mentality and toughness inside the cage. Jones compared that moment to one of his own experiences. He recalled a fight where he was caught in an armbar but refused to give up, saying he was willing to let his arm break before tapping. I had a fight where I got armbarred, and I was literally willing to let somebody break my arm before giving up, Jones said with conviction. Then, referencing his fight with Vitor Belfort, he added, "Is this Vitor Belfort?" "Yeah, Vitor Belfort with Tom. The difference is the moment he felt any pressure on his ankle, he tapped immediately." Jon went on to say that this reaction told him a lot about Aspinall's character as a competitor. He noted that toughness and resilience are what separate good fighters from the truly great ones, and in his eyes, that old footage raised questions about how Tom would handle adversity when it truly mattered. Jones mentioned he'd be watching closely to see how Aspinall performed in his next fight, particularly against someone as skilled and composed as Gane. He finished by saying, "I'll be interested to see if he wins his next fight, because that moment from years ago told me something about him." The clip, though old, has resurfaced at the perfect time. Given all the discussion surrounding Tom's recent performances, fans are now revisiting that early chapter of his career and weighing Jones's comments with new perspective, wondering how much truth there might be in what the former champion said. Move on to another news. Dustin Poirier recently posted a video addressing Tom Aspinall's controversial eye poke incident. And while many tuned in to hear what he had to say, fans quickly got distracted by something else entirely. In the clip, viewers couldn't help but notice Dustin's brand new teeth, and even more noticeably, how he appeared to be heavily intoxicated. The comment section exploded, with fans debating whether he was joking around, tired, or actually under the influence. Despite the online chatter, Poirier did take a moment to speak seriously about Tom's situation. He said, "A lot of people ask me, what's up with Aspinall? What's up with the eye poke? I don't know, man. Only he knows how bad it was." Dustin explained that throughout his long career, he's been through his fair share of tough moments, including eye pokes, cuts, and other freak accidents. "I've been in a lot of fights where I've got eye poked and I continued," he said, pausing before adding, "but only he knows." Poirier didn't take a harsh stance against Tom. Instead, he seemed to emphasize that every fighter reacts differently in those split-second moments. "You can't really judge that unless you've been in there," Dustin added. "Sometimes you get poked and it's nothing. Other times it feels like your whole eye's on fire. It's not the same every time." While Dustin's words were meant to show empathy, fans continued to comment more about his appearance than his message. Some joked about him having Hollywood teeth, while others said he looked completely out of it. A few even questioned whether he was trolling the internet on purpose, knowing that people would talk more about his look than his comments. Still, in between the jokes and memes, there was a genuine discussion about how unpredictable eye pokes can be inside the octagon. Dustin, who's fought some of the toughest names in the sport, reminded everyone that it's easy to judge from the outside, but once you've felt that kind of pain mid-fight, your perspective changes. He wrapped up by saying, "At the end of the day, Tom's the only one who knows what he felt. I hope he heals up and comes back stronger." Whether fans focused on his message or his new smile, Poirier once again managed to grab attention across social media. The clip spread fast, proving that even a simple comment from the Diamond can turn into one of the most talked about moments online. Move on to another news. Aljamain. Sterling has shared a very interesting take on Tom Aspinall's eye poke incident from over the weekend, and it's definitely got fans talking. As many remember, Sterling himself went through a similar situation back in 2021 when he fought Peter Yan for the bantamweight title. Yan landed an illegal knee in the 4th round, which resulted in Aljo winning the fight by disqualification and becoming the new champion. But despite his own experience with controversy, Sterling says this time he's actually not siding with Tom. In his video, Aljo said, "I think the topic of the hour, as with everybody, is Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane, and what actually happened. Was he milking it? Was he using his best Aljamain Sterling acting attributes to take home the gold?" He laughed for a moment, but then got serious, saying, "Now, I know y'all think I'm gonna be on the side of Tommy, but I'm not." Sterling explained that after the fight, Tom posted photos of his injured eye, and while the damage looked bad at first glance, Aljo said it didn't seem as serious as it was made out to be. "From what was posted, it looks like everything is okay," he said. "But I have so many questions, man. He got double poked, I get it, but the eye that looked the worst, the one where it seemed like the middle finger went in deeper, he wasn't even complaining about that one. He was complaining about the other eye, the right eyeball, and that's what didn't make sense to me." Aljo then made it clear that what really made him question the moment was how Tom handled it verbally. "The reason why I think this doesn't look good, and I'm just gonna say it straight, Tommy Aspinall was losing that fight right away," Sterling said. The guy said, "I can't see, and that's the one thing you can't say in a fight. That's the nail in the coffin. If you actually want your 5 minutes to recover, you can't say that. You say, let me take my time. Let me see if things get better. That's what guys who want to keep fighting say." He compared it to his own situation against Jan, saying, "I got illegally kneed, blasted in the head, and destroyed on social media for a year and a half. But even then, I told the ref to give me my time to see if I could recover." Aljo wrapped up by admitting that while he's not questioning Tom's integrity, he still can't help but wonder, "Do I think Tom's a bad guy?" "No," he said. "But watching that fight, it did look like things were starting to get tough, and that makes me question if it hurt as much as he said it did. It just makes me wonder." Move on to another news. Kamaru Usman has pushed back on Henry Cejudo's recent comments about Tom Aspinall's fight with Cyril Gane at UFC 321. During a podcast appearance, Cejudo suggested that Gane may have humbled Aspinall a bit, claiming that Tom was starting to feel the pressure before the eye poke incident. But Usman wasn't having it. He immediately disagreed, saying that what happened inside that octagon was far from a one-sided beating. Usman said, "Everybody is good, and I can lose at any minute. So yeah, maybe Tom got 4 minutes of some humbling, bro. Maybe God papped him up a little bit." He chuckled for a moment before getting serious, adding, "But let's not act like Tom was getting his ass whooped out there. Let's not do that. Tom looked fast, looked strong, looked big. He was throwing those shots too. They both touched each other." According to Usman, Gane just looked a little more composed and effortless in his movement, but that didn't mean Aspinall was being dominated. "It's just that Cyril Gane looked a little more effortless," Usman explained. "He's smooth, that's his style. But Tom was right there with him. That's why I don't like that whole he got humbled narrative. That's not what we saw." As the conversation went on, Cejudo tried to double down on his point, saying that sometimes fighters need that humbling moment to reset mentally. Usman cut in, saying, "Yeah, we could go back and forth on this forever, bro. But here's the thing, I didn't like how you threw my brother DC under the bus like that either. I didn't like that." He was referring to a previous comment from Cejudo, where he playfully criticized Daniel Cormier's fight analysis. Despite their friendly debate, both agreed on one thing: the anticipation for a potential rematch between Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gane is through the roof. Usman said, "The anticipation for this rematch is a lot bigger now. You're right, the odds are closer, and this whole situation is only going to fuel Tom even more. This pisses him off, and that's not a bad thing." Cejudo responded with a grin, asking if that kind of frustration is healthy for a nice guy like Aspinall. Usman laughed and said, "He's already a nice guy, but the way he was putting people away before this? That's a nice guy with bad intentions." The two wrapped up their exchange acknowledging that whatever happens next, this controversy has only added more fire to Tom's comeback story, and fans can't wait to see what he does next. Move on to another news. Michael Bisping has weighed in on the recent comments made by Tom Aspinall's father, and according to him, it was a big mistake. During his latest podcast, Bisping expressed his surprise and disappointment over the way Tom's dad handled things publicly after UFC 321. He believes those remarks could create unnecessary tension between Tom and the UFC. Especially at a crucial time in his career, Bisping said, "Then there was the whole thing with DC, remember that? You probably saw that moment when Tom whispered something into the microphone. He didn't need to release that, you know. So he kind of dropped the ball a little bit there." He went on to explain that while emotions can run high after a fight, certain things are better left off camera, particularly when negotiations or relationships with the promotion are involved. But what really caught Bisping's attention was what Tom's father said shortly after the fight. And then his dad was talking about the boxing thing, Bisping continued. You know, after this contract, we're leaving. And I was like, what are you doing? You don't negotiate like that in public. You speak to them man to man. If that's what you want to do, great. But that's not how you go about it. Bisping explained that the UFC operates on business terms, not emotion, and that public declarations like that can actually weaken a fighter's leverage rather than help it. If you had lost on Saturday night, he said firmly, good luck getting another title fight. You know what I'm saying? That's just the reality. The UFC doesn't take kindly to fighters talking about leaving before their contract's even done. He made it clear that he wasn't speaking on behalf of the UFC, but simply sharing his personal take based on experience. Now again, he said, I'm not speaking for the UFC. That's just me sitting here. Just got off a plane in Dubai, looking at it as someone who's been in this business for decades. Bisping's point was that Tom's father likely had good intentions, maybe trying to protect his son or plan for the future, but airing that kind of information publicly can backfire fast. You can't play negotiation chess in front of millions of people, he said. That's not how this game works. In the end, Bisping reaffirmed his respect for Tom Aspinall as a fighter, calling him one of the best heavyweights on the planet right now, but reminded everyone that in the fight business, timing and presentation matter just as much as performance. You gotta be smart about it, he said, because when the UFC hears you're already thinking about leaving, that changes everything. Move on to another news. It seems being a good soldier in the fight world is often a thankless task, and no one is feeling that more than Tom Aspinall right now. You can step in on 2 weeks' notice to fight one of the most dangerous heavyweights on the planet. You can weigh in as a backup for a pointless vanity fight involving one of the most problematic athletes in all of sports. You can defend your interim title when almost no one else would, and even sit out for 15 long months waiting for that same problematic athlete to decide whether or not to fight you, only for him to retire. Then, you suffer a brutal double eye poke that leaves you without your sight for 4 days, and counting, and after all that, your boss still accuses you of not wanting to fight. When Cyril Gaines' middle knuckle met Tom's orbital bone, it wasn't a closed fist, it was a gouging finger that scraped under his eyelid and across his eyeball. Tom couldn't continue fighting. That much should have been obvious. Yet, after the fight, the discussion wasn't about the injury or the danger, it was about whether Tom wanted to continue. Dana White's post-fight comments struck many fans as surprisingly harsh. I can't make people fight, White said at the press conference in Abu Dhabi. You can't make someone continue if they feel injured. Gain had Tom bloodied up, and Tom didn't want to continue in the fight. Only Tom knows what happened. Could he see? Couldn't he see? Only he knows. White admitted the situation was a pain in the ass, but promised to rebook the matchup, even complimenting Gain's performance, which, aside from the 2 eye pokes, looked sharp and composed. Still, White's words came across as cold, especially as Aspinall was being rushed to the hospital, his vision uncertain. While it's understandable that Dana was frustrated by such a disappointing ending to a major event, that doesn't excuse what many saw as dismissiveness toward a serious injury. Adding to the tension is the fact that White already seemed frustrated with Tom before UFC 321. During fight week, he publicly said he hated Tom's comment about refusing to fight his friend, Ante Delia, who recently entered the UFC's top 10. Tom had explained on a podcast that he wouldn't fight Delia, saying some things are more important than money or titles. Dana fired back, calling that idea absolutely insane, adding, "It doesn't matter if you're friends or enemies, you're competing to see who's the best." Now, with Tom's future uncertain and his relationship with the UFC on shaky ground, this saga sits on a knife edge. Move on to another news. Daniel Cormier was not happy after Tom Aspinall released footage of what he thought was a private conversation between them. Ahead of UFC 321, Tom posted a behind-the-scenes video on his YouTube channel that showed DC approaching him backstage. In the clip, Cormier appeared to believe they were talking off-camera, telling Tom he was about to run through the rest of the heavyweight division. DC also made a few casual remarks about Jelton Almeida, saying he couldn't fight certain matchups at heavyweight, and hinting that Tom could go on a crazy run. The video quickly went viral, but what fans didn't realize was that Cormier thought the conversation was private. DC later explained that he believed UFC Embedded was filming at the time, and didn't realize the microphone clipped to Tom's shirt was for his own personal channel. When he saw the footage uploaded, he admitted he was frustrated and even felt bad about how his comments regarding Jelton came across. Speaking about the situation on his show, DC said, "Thank you so much for that YouTube video with Tom Aspinall. Him and I were talking and the mic was hot. I was just trying to tell Tom how special this run could be for him. I was saying that Jelton's a grappler and it's not as dangerous a fight, but I could have done a better job explaining it. Honestly, I was a little upset they released that because when you lean in and talk quietly, that's supposed to stay between you and the athlete." DC added that he assumed the conversation was being filmed for UFC Embedded, which he trusted never to release anything off the record. "Regardless of what you're saying, whether joking or serious, guys like Jelton Almeida deserve respect," DC continued. "And I do respect him. I felt bad because he's been nothing but nice to me since coming into the UFC. He's a great guy. His grappling is elite. But I still think he needs to round out his game more because there's not enough damage when he's on top." Cormier went on to reference Dana White's recent comments after Jelton's last fight, saying, "Even Dana went up there after and said he was glad Vav won. Because you can't just take someone down and hold them. You sign up to fight." In the end, DC made it clear there were no hard feelings. But he wanted the situation to serve as a reminder that even in a sport built on transparency, some conversations are meant to stay private.